All right, we're live, everybody, on YouTube. Cannot wait. What is going on, everybody? Nathaniel is in full swing. Is he already out there? We're talking tight ends tonight. We're on YouTube. We're on TikTok. It's a Wednesday, Thursday tag team middle of the week thing. We're going to be going, just an announcement, when it is draft day, we're going to be going live during the draft. Hopefully we'll get a few sideline fans, experts on talking about what teams are picking what players in this big draft. We're going to be seeing a lot of names. John Bucci's here. Tom Geiser Billiken, sideline fans' favorite fan, is here. Daniel Barry is here, as always, with his check-in. He'll say hello, and he'll be off to a Never Land. All right, guys, what are you thinking? We're thinking tonight, tight ends, maybe not the sexiest job for fantasy players, maybe not like the coolest. We had quarterbacks last night. We had wide receivers and running backs last week. Tonight, we're talking tight ends. I'm going to give you my top 15, see how many names I can butcher. When we get into the teens, the names get harder. And you know that I'm no good at that. So I have been practicing though. So we'll see how that goes. All right, let's look in the, do I have the chat on? I am doing really crazy things. I'm trying to work on different software, whatever you want to call it, SaaS models here. Last night I was on StreamYard. Tonight I'm on Restream because I have free trials in both, or free versions in both, but I'm up against my limit. I have looked into a system called OBS for live streaming, which is actually free and it's very powerful, but it's also a lot more difficult, especially than StreamYard, which is like the easiest thing to use for a live stream. So, all right, well, let's go through my top 15 tight ends. And if you do follow us on YouTube, you know, or you might have seen the little teaser, the thumbnail, whatever you want to call it. It had a picture of Tyler Warren. Actually, he was jumping over people in there, but he is my number one, Tyler Warren, out of Penn State. He's 257 pounds. He is 6'6". Wow. And he runs a 4.68, which actually in the top 5 of my guys here, he is number 2. He runs a 4.68 in the 40. Went to Penn State. He's 6'6", 257. He's also the heaviest and the second fastest out of my top 5. So some big numbers there. Don't forget, while we have some folks joining right now, hit that like button. And if you like what you're hearing, you like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, hit that follow button on TikTok. Would love to get more subscribers on TikTok. Would love to do the same on YouTube. All right, at number 2, and I have my glasses on tonight because my eyes are all over the place tonight, is Colston Loveland from the Big Blue, Michigan. He's 245, 6'5". He runs a 4.70. He is a great receiving tight end. And he's going to create a lot of mismatches in multiple alignments, especially in the passing game. So he is a big beast to contend with. At number 3, I have Harold Fannin Jr. Hope I'm pronouncing that one right. And I believe Bowling Green. He's a mere 230. He's the lightest in my top 5. He is 6'4", though, so he has some good size. And he runs a 4.71, which is actually the slowest in my top 5, believe it or not. At number 4, I have Elijah Arojo from the U. He's 245, 6'4", and he runs a 4.69. He is the 4th slowest in my top 5. Now, with Arroyo, he moves well. He creates many matchup problems for the opposition. So you like to hear that. And again, he should be one of those tight ends that can handle the rock. I mean, he should be able to catch it and run. So we'll see how that goes. At my number 5, from Louisiana State University, is Mason Taylor. He's a bulky 255. He goes 6'5", and he runs a 4.65. He is my fastest in the top 5. Now, they expect him to all as well be in the passing game. He's a passing kind of, or he's a catching kind of tight end, which, top 5, top 10, top 15, they're pretty much all going to have really good hands. Maybe some of them have some blocking ability or want to block. He apparently is really good in zone coverage. So that will be good when they're up against those types of defenses. It really is going to depend where a lot of these guys land. Will we have on YouTube? I have the question, who will be the next Brock Bowers? Well, I'm sure people are saying it'll be Tyler Warren. I mean, the guy's got size, he's got height, and he's got a little bit of speed. So he is a complete package. At number 6, great first name, Gunnar Helm from the Longhorns, Texas. He's a 250, 6'5", and he runs a 4.84. Now, he's a little bit on the slower side for the tight ends that we're going to be 4.84. Yes. Again, he's a passing guy, and a lot of people believe that he's going to be a complete package. Maybe not now, but in a couple years. So we'll see how that goes. At my number 7 from the Ducks, Oregon, Terrence Ferguson. He is 255, 6'5", and he runs a 4.63. Now, I can tell you that he is the second fastest in my top 10. He's probably a day 2 selection, so you might not see him right away 3 weeks from today, but he will be a good second day draft person. Second or third round probably for him. At number 8, from the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, weighing in at a bulky 260. Now, he is my no, hold on. He's my heaviest in the top 10. Yes, he's my heaviest in the top 10, but he's not my heaviest overall. 260, 6'5". It's Mitchell Evans. He is probably going to be in a lot of systems, or he works well in systems where there's multiple tight ends. So we'll see how that goes. We know just from watching, I got to see a lot of Kansas City games because I live in Missouri. I live in St. Louis, and somehow they think that that's our football team, but that's fine here in St. Louis. And, with Noah Gray and Travis Kelce, you saw a lot of multiple tight end sets with Kansas City. At number 9, Jake Briningstool, that is one hell of a name, from Clemson, right? 240, 6'6". Let me just look this up. I think that's what that is, because they're just showing me the logo, and I don't want to get it wrong. What, they're not telling me? Overall rating, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Clemson, duh. Okay. They're the ones with the paw print, so that's easy to remember. I just want to make sure, since there's no names and it's just a paw print. I'm like, is there another team, another school that has that? I mean, this guy's 6'6", and he runs a 4.75, so decent speed. He's not the slowest guy out there. He's obviously another second day kind of person. And at number 10, man, I cannot see tonight, Oronde Gadsden from Syracuse. He is the lightest at 236. He's 6'5", and he runs a 4.62, which he is the fastest, but he's also the lightest. So again, weight has everything to do with speed in the NFL. That's in my imagination. When you have lighter guys and they're comparable, like you're talking top 10 talent, top 5 talent especially, they're going to be a lot faster when they're lighter. So that's really no big surprise. All right, let's do a quick reset. Hit that follow button on TikTok. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We've gone through to the top 10. How many more of these guys will really go in the first 7 rounds? I'll read my top 15. They'll probably all be touched at some point. From Iowa, I always say Ohio, Iowa Hawkeyes, Luke Lachey, at 247 pounds, 6'6", big, tall guy, and he runs a 4.77. He does have a lot of upside. Another second day pickup. He's viewed probably late second round, early third round kind of guy. At number 12, CJ Dipre from Alabama, Crimson Tide, Roll Tide, 252, and he's 6'5", and he runs a 4.69, so pretty good speed. Why he's apparently needs a little bit of work. Comes as an inline blocker. Oh, so he's more known for his blocking ability. I guess that's what sets him apart from a lot of these guys. So, all right, at number 13 from the Cornhusker State, which their nickname are the Cornhuskers. I mean, I'm sure they're really proud of it, but Thomas Fidone, he's 255, 6'6", big boy, and he ran a 4.7. A lanky receiver, but he's got weight, so he's not just skin and bones. He's not like he's not like your prototypical wide receiver who might be tall and lean. They're saying that he's lean though. The description here is he's lean, but he's 255, 6'6". That's not that light, unless he just wears it so differently. He has deceptive speed, and he can separate pretty well from the defense. Jackson Haas from Georgia Tech, he's 260, 6'5". He's the next George Kittle, apparently, but I have him number 14. A lot of experts have him a little bit higher. So we'll see how that goes if he really is. From Utah, we have Brant Kuyuth. I looked that one up. He's 236 and 6'2". So he's a little undersized compared to all these other guys. Even the other, I don't think anyone's 6'2". I think we have another 236 in the top 10, but he is 6'2". He's apparently another receiving weapon. So that's good news. I mean, most of these guys in the top 15, some of the first things that catch your eye. Hey, how are you doing? It's King Malagrida. Malagrida. Hey, King. What's up, King? I don't know who that is. I hope it's on another Nathaniel fake account. Hi, what's this about? Just a normal girl. If you're still there, you might have left because it was like 4 minutes ago. This is all about tight ends in the NFL draft. We went through the top 15. What say you? Any questions out there about, or do you have any thoughts on who will be the difference maker tight end in this draft? I know tight end isn't really like a position people love. I know it's not the sexiest position. King, I'm doing well, by the way. King's on YouTube. I'm doing well. How are you? Yeah, I got to get a little drink there. But, tight ends are a very valuable position. Oftentimes they're, your third down receiver. If they can block, they're an asset outside of just being a wide receiver. If they can do both, that's a huge asset. So, I just look at the tight end role as something, it's your short yardage, 5-yard dump offs. Sometimes if they need 7 or 8 to get a first down, you can dump it off to a tight end. And a lot of these guys in this draft, just like every other draft, we have here are the weight. Warren, 257, Loveland, 245, Fannin, 230, Arroyo, 245, Taylor, 255. I'm just going to go over to the 250s. Taylor, 250, Helm, or 255, Helm 250, Ferguson 255, Evans 250. We have a couple light people. Then we have Dupre, or is it? It's got to be Dupre. He's 262. I must have read it wrong. So he's a big boy lumbering around that field. All right. And then in my top 5, we have 255, Fidone, Hollis is 260. So we have a lot of guys over 250. We have a lot of guys 6'4" and above. I mean, most of them are 6'4" and above. We have one guy in my top 15 that's 6'2". That is Bryant Kewith. Let's see here. Last time we talked about quarterbacks. Anybody have any follow up, any quarterbacks they want to talk about, any wide receivers, anything like that, I'm happy to keep that conversation going. Wide receivers, running backs. This is a very strong running back class, so I'm excited about that. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube, that follow button, definitely, if you are on TikTok. Would love to. We go live every Wednesday and Thursday. I might go live this weekend. It just kind of depends. I'm what I've learned is I tried talking about fantasy basketball. We ended up for a couple of those shows talking fantasy football. I tried to talk about fantasy baseball. We talked about fantasy football. So I'm just trying to stick with football. Obviously, during the draft, I'm going to go live as much as I possibly can during the draft. Uh, and I'm going to try to get my sideline fans experts, some of the people I know that know football backwards and forwards. They're going to be helping me out, giving me their spin on this. If it's a good pick, what happened here? Okay, connected. Okay, I must have lost myself here in the YouTube feed because I accidentally kicked the cord underneath my desk. All right, so at number 1, again, I have Warren from Penn State. He's 6'6", 257, and he runs a 4.68, which is pretty good speed for someone that size. At number 2, we have Colston Loveland from Michigan. The Wolverines, 245, 6'5", and he runs a 4.7. At number 3, from Bowling Green, we have Harold Fannin, 6'4", 230. So one of the lighter guys in my top 15. He runs a 4.71. So he's not necessarily, I mean, when you think about it, Colston Loveland is 245 pounds. Harold Fannin is 230. But Loveland runs a 4.7, and he's got 15 pounds on Fannin, and Fannin runs a 4.71. Yes, I know it's not a big difference, but they have 15 pounds difference in their weight, which that's at least significant. You got to give me that, right? Okay. Number 4 from the University of Miami. They did that 30 for 30 Catholics versus convicts. I remember all those Miami Notre Dame games in the 80s. Elijah Arroyo, he's 6'4", 245. He runs a 4.69. And the fastest guy in my top 5 is Mason Taylor from LSU. He's 255. He's not easy to take down, 6'5", and he runs a 4.65. And at number 6, from the Longhorns, or you might know him as Texas, Gunnar Helm. He's 250, 6'5". He runs a 4.84. So he's a little bit on the slow side compared to all these other guys. Now, I couldn't run a 4.84, but he definitely can because he was timed at that. So good for him. All of the guys right now that I've been talking with, 1 through 6, Warren, Loveland, Fannin, Arroyo, Taylor, Helm, they all got great hands. They're all going to be catching the ball as much as they possibly can or as much as they want to. That's why they're in the top 6, because they're an offensive threat as well. At number 7, and not saying he's not an offensive threat, but he's probably a day 2 pick from Oregon, is Terrence Ferguson. He's 255, good size, 6'5". He runs a 4.63. He's 5 pounds heavier than Gunnar Helm from Texas, but he runs 0.21 faster on the 40 than Gunnar Helm. I mean, 255 pounds running a 4.63. It's like getting hit by a car, maybe not a large car, but that's incredible. And if he can block anything, that would be even better. I mean, this guy's got speed. That is pure speed at that size. Okay. Because we also have, or I have at number 10 from Syracuse, Oronde Gadsden. He's 236 and he runs a 4.62. He's 236. Okay. He's 6'5" and he runs a 4.62. However, Terrence Ferguson from Oregon is 255. He's 19 pounds heavier and he runs a 4.63. Imagine that speed. Like, if you can look at that moving forward and imagine that speed. I mean, There's speed there. There's a difference. It's a difference maker. Maybe not so much if they ran a race, they would sort of look like they're tied, but you look at all that additional weight coming at you at that speed. If he's blocking, it's going to be crazy. And plus, he's going to be harder to tackle. Running at that speed, going downfield, having that kind of body mass is just an incredible, I guess, talent, if you will. All right. We talked about him. Never mind. Luke Lachey from the Iowa Hawkeyes is my number 11. He is 247, 6'6", very tall, and he runs a 4.77. So not on the faster side of the top 15, but he does have high upside, but he probably is a day 2 pickup from Iowa. And then CJ Dupre from, maybe I said it right that time, from Alabama. He's the largest in my top 15. He is 262, 6'5". However, he runs a 4.69. Now, again, Luke Lachey from Iowa, 247, and he runs a 4.77 in the 40. CJ Dupre from Alabama, 262. All right, 262. And he runs a 4.69. He's got 26.26, or no, he has 26 pounds on. I'm getting all confused now. Yeah. He's got 26 pounds on Oronde Gadsden. And, well, compared to Luke Lachey, he's 15 pounds heavier, but he runs faster in the 40. So, I mean, these tight ends, they have massive speed. This is going to be a lot of fun. I really think the tight end position is one of those positions that over the last 10 years has probably changed the most. If you really think about it, they're extraordinarily integral into the offense now. A lot of teams 30, 40 years ago would have tight ends, but they might spend most of their day blocking. They weren't always thinking offensive, benefit. They weren't looking at tight ends that could catch. They were looking at a lot of blocks and opening up seams and things like that. And now they're as important as the running back. They're as important as their wide receivers or their top 2 wide receivers. I'm sure the money's not quite there because people still think of tight end as, it's like I said, it's not the sexiest position in all of football, but it's probably one of the most important, or the one that has gained the most importance over the last 10 years. The running back has sort of emerged this past year, but let's face it, for the last 5 to 10 years, the running back, the way the NFL has viewed the running back, is kind of going down. It's been going down and down and down. They just weren't putting money behind them. They were having, running back by committee. They weren't paying them very well. And now, with Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, you can see all these guys blossoming. Jahmyr Gibbs, almost all these guys are on the rise, and it's really important. Running backs are one of my favorite positions in all of sports, really. And I'm glad to see that they sort of had a rebirth here this past year, because their position is so integral to the offense. Because, when you pass the ball, it's not like handing the ball off. You're not necessarily going to get a quality offensive play at all, because it might be an incomplete pass, or they might drop the ball, the receiver. So I really like the idea of the tight ends growing in importance in the league. You see almost every team now has, I shouldn't say every team, but I would say 60 to 75% of the league have tight ends that are worth fantasy points, relevant fantasy points. Now, some of them, like the one in Minnesota that they got after his injury, he had a hard time coming to, put up points there towards the end of the season, or while he was playing, because I think he was still recovering a little bit. But I mean, if you look at all the teams, Laporta, you look at, Kansas City, obviously that's a no-brainer. You look at, just any Freiermuth with Pittsburgh. You look at, I'm trying to think of other big names. I mean, a lot of these guys are the real weapons on their teams, and they're really good in third down situations. So that's why I think the position's really growing. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget, we will be live during the NFL draft. I really do appreciate it. Take care out there. I'm going to try to go live over the weekend, and I will see you all later.